just play the f***ing clip.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Well, I certainly didn't expect to be talking about Dragon Ball Super ever again, but you know, it's 2020, it's a wild f***ing year. Anything can happen. So I made it pretty clear by now that I don't like modern Dragon Ball. I don't like Dragon Ball Super. I think Toriyama's storylines have been bare bones at best, and Toei's adaptation of them have been pretty f***ing abysmal, and there just hasn't been a whole lot for me to like latch onto or give a shit about. And the way that they've been going about it, they just keep hitting the same narrative stumbling blocks time after time, and I just got tired of it. There was nothing new or interesting to say or critique, so I just washed my hands of it to go focus on other shit. But here I am, now, focusing on this shit. Again. And why? Well, first off, there's a new arc. And it's not written by Toriyama, and it, as of right now, has not been adapted by Toei. This is a project penned by Toyotaro, the guy who has, up until this point, been in charge of adapting Toriyama's storylines for modern Dragon Ball for manga. And now he's just been given the reins to write his own original story. And this arc has been critically lambasted by the fandom as a whole, which is pretty surprising because back when I was the one who was critically lambasting Dragon Ball Super, I was constantly berated with death threats and slurs. So clearly something changed. I guess the fandom just got fed up with just all this mediocre garbage storytelling. So then I decided to finally peep this storyline, and holy shit, this story arc is rad, and I don't know what the f*** is wrong with you people. Like, people treat me like I'm some sort of f***ing joy vacuum who's just here to suck all the fun out of the fandom, and I go into this arc. This is exactly what I've been asking for from modern Dragon Ball this entire time, and I'm like, this is your breaking point? This is the thing that makes you go, man, f*** Dragon Ball, I'm totally done with this f***ing franchise. It has betrayed me one too many times. Battle of Gods didn't do it, Resurrection F didn't do it, the Universe 6 arc didn't do it, Goku Black didn't do it, f***ing the Universe Survival arc didn't do it. Broly's okay, I won't shit on that one. But this, the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, this is your f***ing breaking point. Okay, sure. Fine, whatever. Like, I just wouldn't be me if I just wasn't standing in direct opposition to fandom consensus. And if you're one of the many people who just don't like this arc and are wondering, Zeon, what the f*** your entire shtick has been to just shit on modern Dragon Ball, why are you now, like, saying positive things about this thing that, like, everyone else now hates? I don't know, apparently I just have, like, just being a contrarian is just in my blood. I can't do anything else other than just f***ing disagree with you people, apparently. So yeah, why do I like this arc? Well, I mean, just from the premise, right from the very beginning, this shit has gripped me in ways that no other arc in modern Dragon Ball has. We kick things off with our heroes being informed, and by heroes I mean Goku and Vegeta, because it's the Goku and Vegeta show now, of course, that's just what Dragon Ball is. We kick things off with Goku and Vegeta being informed that Majin Buu has been kidnapped by some mysterious motherfuckers. When they go to investigate it, they both get dropped and kidnapped along with Majin Buu. And who are these mysterious people who have orchestrated this plan? The Galactic Patrol. Oh my god, they're actually f***ing plot relevant. Like, one of the most frustrating things about Dragon Ball, like modern Dragon Ball, is that, like, you know, Toriyama keeps introducing things and doesn't know what to do with them, and he keeps, like, reinserting them into the stories, and they don't contribute anything. This has been the case with, like, the Pilaf gang. Like, he made them kids and he brought them into the story and then doesn't do anything with them, unless you count Future Mai, which I don't count that. You know, and the Galactic Patrol is an even bigger example where, you know, he just keeps bringing Jocko in and acknowledging that Jocko exists, but Jocko never does anything of substance, and neither does the rest of the Galactic Patrol. But now here we have a new arc that is just starting off with them. They are the inciting incident. Yay! So of course, my boy Jocko's there, being awesome, like he is. But also, we get introduced to a new character named Miris, who's basically like the big dick super elite of the Galactic Patrol, and he informs Goku and Vegeta that they are on a mission to recapture an escaped convict. Moro, a space wizard who was locked up 5 million years ago by the Daikaioshin. Yes, this arc is now acknowledging that the Daikaioshin exists. And if you don't remember who that is, that's okay. Apparently Toriyama doesn't either. The Daikaioshin is, the top of the Kaios who was merged with Fat Boo. It's why Fat Boo is all like fat and jolly and Majin Buu. Yeah, he's him. Like, he exists. He's acknowledged. He's still canon. So to reseal up Moro, they have recruited Majin Buu to awaken his memories of being the Daikaioshin so that he can use those powers to seal Moro back up and have him re-imprisoned. And while all of this is going on, Moro has teamed up with a former member of the Frieza forces who has informed him about Namek and the Dragon Balls. So now Moro is using his powers to locate New Namek, and this Frieza forces guy, I think it was Raspberry. I'm going to assume it's Raspberry. If it isn't, oops. So Moro and Raspberry are now going to New Namek to get the Dragon Balls, and Goku and Vegeta are now on a rescue mission with Majin Buu, sort of. Majin Buu's still asleep right now from when he went to sleep during the Universe Survival arc. But anyhow, our heroes are now on a rescue mission to save New Namek, and this is so different from anything up until this point. We have the Galactic Patrol recruiting our heroes, taking them on a mission to New Namek to face a 5 million year old wizard f***er who was sealed away by the Daikaioshin, and we now need Majin Buu to play an integral role in the story. Or at least that's how it's set up. That's not exactly how it's going to play out, but hey, you can't win them all. And this arc doesn't cop out. It actually is a real story arc. One of my biggest criticisms of modern Dragon Ball is how paper thin the plots have been, up until this point. And if you don't know what I mean by that, think about what all the arcs of modern Dragon Ball have consisted of. 3 of them can be broken down into introduction of an antagonist shows up on Earth, heroes face the antagonist, and the conflict is resolved. Obviously, there are things that, variations on, the events and how specifically things play out and how things are specifically resolved, and, what roles each villains play, but the basic structure has been that. Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and Broly all have that structure. And then on top of that, we got, 2 tournament arcs? One where our heroes are facing against 5 assholes that we've never met before, where one of them is the obvious boss monster for our heroes to overcome. And then another tournament arc that's actually a battle royale, where our heroes are going up against, 60 motherfuckers? Most of which we've never seen before. And then there's one obvious big boss monster for them to overcome at the end. These aren't stories. They're barely f***ing, notes for stories. The only arc that's actually felt like an arc, a story with progression and events, is the Future Trunks arc. And there you have Trunks returning, talking about how his timeline is being ravaged by some new mysterious evil villain who looks just like Goku. So then our heroes have to go on a mission to Trunks' future to save that timeline. And there's the whole mystery of who is Goku Black, and we find out that Goku Black is actually a rogue Kaioshin from another universe who has just flipped his shit and it just wants to wipe out all non-godly life in the universe or the multiverse. That's a shockingly cool setup. It takes a concept as dumb as bringing back Future Trunks and having an evil Goku and actually makes it work. I would praise it, but when you actually, take away the cool concept of Goku Black as a whole, and you look at what the story arc actually is, it's our heroes go to the future, get their asses kicked, come back. Then they go to the future, get their asses kicked, and come back. Then they go to the future, get their asses kicked, this time for good, come back and Trunks' timeline is wiped out. They lost, they f***ing failed. Oh well, whatever, Trunks' timeline is expendable collateral damage. Oh well, it'll be fine. Whatever, we'll just stick him in another timeline from before everything went to shit. It'll be okay. So yeah, like, these arcs haven't had much going on in them. And honestly, this arc could have done the same. Like, people keep telling me how this arc could have ended at this point, and this point, and this point. And yeah, it could have. But, like, I kind of like my storylines that have twists and turns and kind of keep me guessing as to when things are going to end and how things are going to end. And this arc f***ing delivers in that department. Goku and Vegeta show up on New Namek and get their shit kicked in. Moro has the ability to just drain life energy from people, so our heroes can't keep up their stamina long enough to take his ass out. They get dropped, and the only reason they survive is that, like, the Namekians healed them. And they go to confront Moro again, this time with Majin Buu in tow, and Majin Buu turns into the Daikaioshin, which, holy shit, that's already cool on it, like, in itself. So now we have Goku, Vegeta, and the Daikaioshin ready to take on Moro. And if this were like any other like arc of Dragon Ball Super, like something that was penned by Toriyama, this arc would probably end here with our heroes in tow with the Daikaioshin teaming up to form some sort of strategy to take out Moro and save New Namek. But no, like, they fail again. Moro wishes for his youth. Not his youth, his magic powers. Sorry, he's a bit of a Piccolo clone. We'll get into that in a bit. But, yeah, he wishes for his full magic power to be restored. And then he also wishes for all of the prisoners at Galactic Patrol to be freed. So now he has an army of henchmen who are f***ing up our heroes on top of him just draining them dry. So then they fail a second time. And then from there, things just kind of keep spiraling out. Goku goes on his own little training arc. Vegeta goes on his training arc. Jocko recruits, like, the fighters on Earth to get ready for Moro when, like, his guys are going to inevitably show up. And then there's a huge battle. And just how things unfold and just keep getting more dire. Our heroes keep pulling out more trump cards and new abilities and old abilities, and using just everything in the everything but the kitchen sink to take this down. And every single time, something happens to impede that. And, like, it's a great arc. I'm sorry. Like, the shit's fun and cool. And it, like I said, it kept me on my toes, and it kept me guessing as to where shit was going to go. It wasn't just another story where villain has now shown up on Earth, and our heroes have to just beat the villain, or in the case of Beers, kick the shit out of our hero and then go, alright, I'm gonna split now, bye guys. It's like we finally have, like, a real villain who feels terrifying, and it feels like there are stakes, and it feels like there's tension. Something that has been sorely lacking from modern Dragon Ball. And a lot of people keep blaming the lack of tension in modern Dragon Ball for being stuck in the 10-year time gap. It's like, oh, well, we know where everyone's gonna be. We know who's gonna live, so there's no, like, tension. It's like, that's bullshit. Okay, that's not how tension in storytelling works. There's been no tension in modern Dragon Ball because, one, Beers was kind of just dicking around and never felt like a real antagonist. Golden Frieza gets his shit kicked in pretty royally and doesn't really stand as much of a threat. Goku Black, this shit takes place entirely in another timeline. And our heroes fail. So, whatever. Because the arc doesn't seem to care about Trunks' timeline, so there's really no reason for, like, the reader or the watcher to give a shit about Trunks' timeline. Like, the core world that our heroes inhabit is never a threat. And then you have two tournaments. One where just nothing of substance happens, and the other one where, like, everything is on the line, but the stakes are so incredibly high that you know exactly how it's gonna end. Our heroes are gonna win the tournament, and they're going to use the Super Dragon Balls to wish back all the other universes, because there's no other way that arc could have possibly ended. Did I know it was going to end with 17 winning? No. Did I know it was going to end with Goku and Frieza in a team attack taking out Jiren? No. But I did at very least know that Frieza was going to play some kind of role in the finale, and so is Goku, because Goku's got to be the one to help beat Jiren. So that was going to be pretty obvious, and that our heroes were going to just fix everything. So that's why there's no goddamn tension, because the storylines don't set up anything to have tension over. The only thing that has like kind of any sort of tension maybe is the Broly film, but even that one in my opinion kind of fails in that regard, because it's just a 45-minute slugfest, and our heroes just kind of keep fighting him. They power up, he gets stronger, they power up, he gets stronger, they power up, he gets stronger, then he feels insurmountable, then they fuse, then they fight him, then he powers up, then they power up, and then it's over. Broly didn't feel like this, like, villainous antagonistic force, because, you know, he wasn't. He was just like this rampaging monster that just needed to be calmed the down. But here, in this arc, we have a villain who is a legitimate villain, who is like a real serious threat to not only our heroes, but the entire goddamn universe, who has a grudge against the gods and just wants to consume. He has no moral compass. He doesn't care about life. He just wants to consume and feed and gain more power. That is his entire goddamn MO. And honestly, like, Moro is kind of a brutal villain when you think about it. Like, he's constantly impaling motherfuckers, grabbing people by the throat, throwing them and incinerating them against energy walls. Like, this guy is a force to be reckoned with. He feels like a monster. Like, he pins Goku down and then reaches his arm out to grab Vegeta and just chokes the life out of them while absorbing them and then taking all of their fucking life force. Like, he feels like a fucking monster. And also, this arc does not skimp on the violence. As I said, Moro will constantly impale people. His guys will just split dudes in half. Everything just feels so dire because of this. Because Moro keeps doing new things that, like, keep one-upping our heroes in every goddamn situation, like, they throw against him. And, like, Dragon Ball doesn't need violence. Like, I don't think that's, like, a rule. Like, a lot of people used to complain a lot about Dragon Ball Super, like, the anime, just being really sterile and being bloodless and how that was affecting it. And, like, I don't think you need blood, but I do think it can help. It can really get across just how our heroes are. When you see Goku with a giant hole in his chest and he's just spewing blood out of his mouth, and you're like, oh, he just got So yeah, like, we have an arc with an interesting premise that has twists and turns and constantly keeps you, like, on the edge of your seat, and just one that actually has a sense of tension and desperation. Things that, like, all of these things have been sorely missing from modern Dragon Ball. But it doesn't just end there. Like, there's also great character stuff to enjoy also, specifically with Vegeta. I have not liked Vegeta in modern Dragon Ball at all. I've absolutely hated his character. Mostly because he's just been so regressed, and they just keep hitting the exact same, like, emotional beats with his character. It's like Toriyama doesn't know what to do with him, but because he's the second strongest character, he's gotta always be there. But then he just kinda is just there to get his ass kicked and never really adds anything of merit to the arc. Like, shit, not even, like, in the Future Trunks arc, where he is, you know, has a connection to one of the characters. He just keeps hitting the exact same plot beats of, I'm gonna catch up to you one day, Kakarot, or, my sigh and pride, blah blah blah, my warrior's honor, blah blah blah, or just I love my family, and then power up, or just what? It's always the same shit with him. Like, they've never given him anything of note to do. Or also, my other favorite thing they like to do with Vegeta, okay, Kakarot, I'll put my bullshit to the side this time to fight alongside you, but just this time. I get so... I'm tired of it. Like, they've done nothing new with his character. The only time his characters had any actual f***ing development was when he put his pride to the side to be trained by Whis. Because that was the first time, like, he had taken a master. And, like, that was an interesting concept that is just never actually touched on in the movie. It happens off screen between films. And Dragon Ball Super addresses this, so, like, you know, he's reaching out to someone to train under. But then they kind of play that episode for laughs instead of, like, it being, like, a serious character moment for him. And then, of course, you know, in that same arc, you know, he's facing off against Frieza, a person he has a lot of history with, and then his victory gets stolen from him as a joke. So literally his entire f***ing development, like the one meaningful piece of development he has had in modern Dragon Ball, is played for a joke. That's it. So yeah, like, I don't like how Vegeta has been treated in modern Dragon Ball whatsoever. His character f***ing sucks. So what did Toyotaro do? What is different here? Well, first off, we acknowledge Vegeta's past history, like his former villainous acts. Something that gets mentioned but never really gets expanded upon. It's never, like, used any kind of character moments for him. But here it is, because he's now helping the Namekians, a race that he terrorized, that he killed a shit ton of long, long ago near the tail end of his tenure as a villain. And that is something that still morally weighs on his conscience. And because that he's in the situation that he's in, he feels like an obligation to make sure that the Namekians don't get killed. That he saves as many lives as possible in this, because he just refuses to watch any of them die. Like, he needs to repent for his sins. And that's, like, an interesting thing to do with his character, because, you know, he was a villain who did a lot of shit things. Like, he never really did anything too egregious when he was on Earth. He fought some guys. Nappa kind of did all the really heinous shit, or the Cybermen did a whole lot of the heinous shit. Vegeta himself mostly just fought Goku and killed Nappa. So he killed a villain. That was his big villainous act. Like, you know, he went Majin and killed a bunch of people, but those people were wished back. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Here, no, those Namekians are still dead. And he wants to repent. But that's not the only thing they do with Vegeta's character in this arc. Because after he gets his ass kicked, he goes off. He leaves. He parts ways with Goku and goes to Yargrad and decides to try to learn an ability that could possibly beat Moro. And one, that's just a really cool concept in itself. The fact that, like, oh, we're acknowledging Yargrad. Once again, pulling more things from the past to tell new storylines. Hey! It's that thing I've been asking for. More important than just like, oh, Vegeta is just training under some people to learn a new ability. This is Vegeta, a man who has valued strength over everything, putting his pride to the side to learn techniques, to study under a race of people who are vastly weaker than him. Him putting his bullshit to the side to train under Whis is one thing. Him putting his bullshit to the side to train under a race of people who are just so f***ing weak in comparison to him is a big goddamn deal. And this training isn't just to, like, get stronger or to, like, learn a new transformation. It's a specialized technique that will hopefully beat Moro. And it's honestly a technique that perfectly fits with Vegeta as well. That technique being Force Spirit Fission. A technique where Vegeta literally punches a motherfucker and he pulls power out of them that is not originally theirs. Which honestly is like the most Vegeta thing ever, because Vegeta's whole fucking shtick as a character is like his own strength. Everything he's worked for. Everything he's busted his ass for up until this point. That has been Vegeta's character. Like, work hard, gain strength, like, build yourself from like the sweat of your own brow shit. Like, he's never had respect for people who fuse and like absorb and all this other bullshit. So yeah, so for Vegeta's whole thing to be like, yeah, no, you, your bullshit, you're goddamn cheating. I am literally gonna rip all this unearned power away from you and then fight you with the power that I have earned through all of my hard work and training. Like I said, this ability is the most goddamn Vegeta thing he could have learned. So once again, okay, we have an arc that's, you building on previously established things with like this new villain who has like a unique abilities that makes himself a legitimate threat, that has tension, that has desperation, and it is doing interesting things with Vegeta's character. But like, those are like the structural things and like the kind of more poignant things that I think that makes this arc really enjoyable. Honestly, on top of everything else, this arc is just a blast. Like, it's full of like a lot of fan service, but it's like well-crafted fan service. Like, honestly, bringing back the Daikaioshin is in itself fan service to tell a new story. Because it's like, oh, it's like you're being rewarded for having followed the series up until this point. It's not the really bad fan service that Dragon Ball Super has been doing up until this point, where it's just like, oh, well, like, here's Frieza, the most popular villain from Z. He's back now. Oh, here's Trunks, this character who was super popular from Z. He's back now. Oh, Broly, I guess he's canon now. Oh, yeah, and Gogeta too. Like, just, like, it's always been really cheap, pandering bullshit. It's like the type of fan service that Dragon Ball Super has been engaging with. Here, instead, it's pulling all these little things that feel more organic. Like I said, the Daikaioshin being one of them. Bringing in the Galactic Patrol. Moro's henchmen, like one of them, is a member of Zarbon's race. That was pretty cool, and Vegeta wrecks his shit. When Moro's henchmen are going around ransacking random planets, they go to planet Zune, the planet that Pui Pui was from. Miras ends up being an angel. And then also, Jaco goes and recruits all of the fighters on Earth. So you have Yamcha and Tenshinhan and Chaozu just wearing Galactic Patrol symbols, and they're kicking ass again. And it's great! Like, Moro's henchmen are like all these different like random races. One of them's a metal man like from Universe 6. Another one's a member of Botamo's race. It's taking all this previously established stuff. It's fan service just done right and organically. I don't feel like just Dragon Ball Super is just taking things from the past and going, here, you like this thing? Here's this thing that you liked. You like this again, right? No, it's taking like just little things here and there and just kind of weaving them in an organic fashion. Shit, I didn't even talk about the Yardrats. Toyotaro, and one of my favorite pieces of goddamn fan service is he canonizes both the Yardrats from the anime and from Dragon Ball Online. Because for those who don't know, in Dragon Ball Online, Toriyama designed the Yardrats, and they look like how they look in the manga. The bulbous heads, the little short guys. But in Dragon Ball Z, the anime, they look like weird bug-eyed fish guys. So, like, Vegeta gets there and he goes, oh yeah, Yardratians or whatever, they all look different. Or like there's different versions of them. And so yeah, like he just put both of them. Like he had the choice, like, oh man, which one am I gonna use? Both. It's great. I love it. This arc is great, and I don't get all the hate. I don't. And then there is the finale, and holy fuck, this finale kicks ass because you have Goku, who has returned from his training with Miras, using Ultra Instinct Sign, and like, doing a really good job of f***ing Moro up. Like, in, like, Moro's magic being, like, this big deciding factor and, like, being able to, like, hold Goku off long enough to where Goku would kind of burn himself out. And then Vegeta has to come in there and he's using Force Spirit Fission. Vegeta rips all of the life force that Moro had absorbed out of him. And then Moro goes and absorbs swallows straight up a dude named 7-3, a guy who can copy abilities. Because 7-3 had copied Moro's abilities, and that was like a previously established thing. And like, you kind of have like Moro telling them like, hey, don't like waste my powers. But like, then you find out the reason for that is so he could, you know, use it as a backup in case shit got real. So when shit got real, he did that. And then when things feel their most dire, Miras comes in, fighting Moro, kicking his ass, but angels aren't allowed to fight. That's like a big thing. It's why Whis never gets involved in combat. He can train, he can spar, but he can never use his full power against someone. Or else, because like an angel is actually choosing sides and being actively like involved in like mortal meddling, and he's not supposed to do that. It's a thing that angels just are not supposed to do. Miras doing this breaks a huge rule, and he fades away. And he does this intentionally to get Goku to trigger into like full-blown Ultra Instinct, and it works. And the fight is f***ing rad. Like, this is a fight where Goku Shoryuken's a motherfucker, and it just creates a dome of energy around him and a shockwave that ripples across the entire planet. And like, Ultra Instinct is just presented in such a cool fucking fashion here. Like, I mean, like, Ultra Instinct was pretty cool in the anime. Like, I kind of liked how sign was used more than actual Ultra Instinct. Here, Ultra Instinct just feels epic. It feels amazing. And I love it, and I am here for this shit. Then Moro absorbs Miras' powers from before Miras died, and then he has Ultra Instinct. So they have two guys with Ultra Instinct, but Moro body isn't like trained and honed for Ultra Instinct, so it's literally killing him, which is a thing that was established early in that arc, is that like, you cannot just keep forcing power into someone. It will kill them if their body isn't like resilient enough and hasn't been trained up to a certain point. So now this is happening to Moro. So then Moro just merges with the planet, and Goku's just like, oh fuck. And then Whis tells him, you have to break the jewel on his head. So Goku's trying to break the jewel, he can't get there, Ultra Instinct fizzles out on him, so Vegeta's trying to use Force Spirit Fission to like try to pull power out of Moro, and then he's like giving the power to Goku, but it's not enough. Jaco realizes that Goku needs like divine god powers, so he goes and gets the Daikaioshin. Daikaioshin then goes off to find Oob, because it was previously established that Oob, or that Kid Buu specifically, got the Daikaioshin's divinely god powers, which means those were passed on to Oob. So Oob gives his powers to Vegeta, and then Vegeta takes that power, tosses it into Goku. Goku turns into a giant spirit kaiju, and then just punches the shit out of fucking Moro, ending it. This arc's wild. This arc is cool, and it's rad, and it's fun, and it's just full of so many twists and turns. It goes places I didn't expect. Even by the end of it, like, I knew, like, Vegeta was going to use Force Spirit Fission, and Goku was probably going to take him out with Ultra Instinct. That was pretty obvious. I did not expect, one, that the power was going to be then cycled back into Goku, and I did not expect Oob to be involved, and for that power to be what triggers Ultra Instinct and then turn Goku into a giant energy kaiju. Like, a lot of people seem to be like pissy about this, like, oh, it's such an ass pull. I'm like, these feel like special circumstances. Like, yeah, no, Goku has just been like imbued with like divine god power from Oob, which has triggered him into like this maxed out version of Ultra Instinct. Like his power is maxed out. And it's not like manifesting your ki into like physical forms is like a thing we haven't seen before. Because, you know, you can turn it into a blade, you can turn it into the ki Enzon. So like the idea of turning it into just a physical manifestation of yourself doesn't seem that crazy to me. I mean, like, it's crazy in that it's like wild, but it doesn't feel like it's breaking like the universal, like the rules of the universe, and it doesn't feel like an ass pull to me. I'm sorry, as someone who is pretty hypercritical of like the show just pulling stuff out of its ass, this doesn't feel like that. This feels like an earned moment. It was a big, epic as earned moment, and the finale like made Oob valuable again. Something that's really kind of bothered me with modern Dragon Ball is just how devalued Oob has felt. Because Oob is supposed to be endgame. He's supposed to be like this character who's introduced who's a reincarnation of Majin Buu, and that's important because, you know, Majin Buu was the last big villain that Goku would face. This really powerful guy. So him then, after 10 years training his reincarnation, was like, you know, an important thing. And after the events of Dragon Ball Super, Oob has felt irrelevant. Between introducing 2 stages of godly transformations for our heroes, introducing all these multiverses and all these ridiculously strong characters, and just our heroes constantly just hitting these new plateaus of power, Oob felt inconsequential. But now that we know that he has divine godly power within his body, like now you kind of get this idea of, yo, this kid's something special. Like Goku has literally felt that power in his body, so he knows what Oob is capable of. So Oob feels special again. He feels relevant again. I can't express like how like kind of annoyed I've been with modern Dragon Ball by just constantly raising the levels up. And like, you know, obviously Oob is still going to be like a lot weaker than a lot of the people that Goku's been facing up until this point. But Oob is also going to have like insane potential now. Like he feels, because like, you know, after you introduce like Kale and Caulifla and Jiren and Hit, like Oob felt like nothing. Broly, but like I said, now Oob feels special again. And like even if they don't do anything with him up until like Super ends and it like, you know, goes to the end of Z, like at very least now Oob feels special. Okay, so, you know, I've been really showering a lot of praise on this arc. I clearly really like it a lot. I figure I should just go ahead and address like some of the complaints I've been hearing. First off, Moro is a boring ass villain. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Like, I'm not even gonna like argue against that. Like, and if that's a deal breaker for you, that's fine. I honestly don't think Dragon Ball has like that many really interesting villains. Like, honestly, I don't think Piccolo Daimao is that interesting. I don't really think Cell is that interesting. I think Super Buu is abysmal. I don't think Yi Jinglong was that interesting. I mean, I don't think Frieza's been interesting since his original arc. You know, Broly was just a big old rage monster. Jiren is... I don't even think I could call him a character. So, yeah, no, like, I don't really need that interesting of an antagonist, but if you find that that's kind of a deal breaker, you just can't find anything to latch onto with Moro, that's perfectly valid. His character is just kind of like, he consumes, and he just wants to, like, gain more power and eat, and that's about it. Eat and destroy and kill. Doesn't really have, like, a moral compass whatsoever. He kind of goes on some fucking tangent about being a supreme life form, like every goddamn villain has to at some point. Yeah, no, Moro's a boring villain. You got me there. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker for me because I feel like the events of the story and like the series of events that Moro triggers is far more interesting and valuable to me than him as a character. Another complaint that I've heard is that basically this arc rehashes just so much stuff from classic Dragon Ball and Z, and it's very devoid of originality. I've had one person describe it as, I think it was a cover band doing a greatest hits album, and I can see where people are coming from with this. Moro in the beginning definitely has some Piccolo Daimao vibes. He's this guy who was sealed away a long time ago from by this ancient person, and he's freed now, and he has like his henchmen, and at some point he's like literally like standing on top of like a hover ship with railing on it. Like, he's got some Piccolo Daimao energy, and that the arc just kind of keeps lifting things from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and that's fair. Like, there's definitely like, you can see like, oh, they did this from this, and they did this similar to this, but like, that doesn't bug me. Like, as MistareFusion has pointed out, the Piccolo Daimao arc retreads a lot of the same beats from the Red Ribbon Army arc, but the Piccolo Daimao arc is still one of my favorite arcs. I like it more than the Red Ribbon Army arc, and I think like how the Moro arc remixes a lot of these ideas, the fact that it isn't just pulling from like one arc, and it's just being a retread of one single arc, and it's just kind of pulling like certain tropes and ideas, is fine with me. And I've also heard people complain about like, oh yeah, no, it's just all the same tropes, it's all the same bullshit, and fair. Like I said, also not a deal breaker for me. If it is for you and it disappoints you and you wanted something just wholly new and original, perfectly fine. Not a deal breaker for me. The pacing sucked. It's too long and bloated. Kinda, like, honestly, I don't really agree with this. Like, it's long. Like a Toyotaro chapter, like a chapter of Dragon Ball Super is like 3 chapters of like Toriyama's Dragon Ball manga. So when you look at it like that, like, this arc is long as fuck. And it's not like longer than like the Cell arc or like the Majin Buu arc, but it's definitely close, and it definitely doesn't have like as many shifting events and changing dynamics as like those arcs did. Honestly, for the most part, I'm going to say I think this arc is paced fairly well. I think what really ruins it for people is that they're reading it month by month. They get this big ass chapter once a month, and then they had to wait, and it's been going for 2 goddamn years. I feel like if these chapters were like split into 3 and you got them once a week, people would be far more engaged, far more accepting. Like, I can see the pacing like really bothering people if you're like more of a fan of the manga, because I'll admit, this arc isn't paced like an arc from the manga. It's paced like an arc from the anime. Like, you see more of the training, you see more like these little incidental stuff and conversations that you probably wouldn't have gotten in like Toriyama's manga. Like, Vegeta's training probably would have been mostly off-panel. There probably would have been less time dedicated to several little things throughout the story. Like, I don't think that like Toyotaro really drugged the storyline out too far, but he definitely like paces things like the anime would. Like, shit, Goku's transformation to Ultra Instinct is a really excellent example of this, where in like, say like the manga, when Toriyama did a transformation, he would have it like take like 1 page, maybe 2 or 3, like a handful of panels, some character reaction shots, and then the reveal shot. Here, Goku, like there's several panels dedicated to just the epic build up and then the reveal. Like, it is paced like how it would be in the anime, not how it would be in manga. And that happens a lot. And that's kind of why I dig, like, Toyotaro's paneling and his layouts. Like, Toyotaro gets, like, a lot of shit for his layouts and his paneling, and some of it's fair criticism, but I think he's gotten a lot better. And I think, you know, in this arc specifically, he's been given a lot more room to breathe. I don't think his story is necessarily poorly paced, but he is definitely giving his art more breathing room for, like, big build-ups and big payoffs. And honestly, I would say this arc does that shit really well. Okay, next complaint. This arc has a lot of wasted potential. Like, it makes it seem like Majin Buu is going to be a bigger character than he actually is. Vegeta only uses Force Spirit Fission twice and doesn't even get the save. I don't know, like, the heroes on Earth barely get to do anything, and Goku has to, like, mop up a lot of the villains for, like, them. And, I mean... no, I can't. I'm sorry. Like I don't feel like a story having a thing. Like if you thought, like, Vegeta was going to get the win, like, Vegeta just on his own is going to show up with a new ability and save the day and get the kill and blah blah blah, you're dumb. That's not Dragon Ball. I'm sorry. That just isn't. Like, if you're really bothered by Goku coming in and having, like, his big hero moment and getting the save on, like, our heroes, yeah, no, it's a trope, but it's also something that's just very ingrained in the Dragon Ball, and it's just something I've come to expect at this point. Like, it's not like they didn't get their own wins. Like Yamcha took a dude out, a bunch of dudes out, Tenshinhan took a guy out, Kuririn took a guy out, Piccolo and Gohan took out 7-3. They got to do shit. It's just then other villains came in, like, they had other fights that they just couldn't overcome. Like, if our heroes have everything under control, I'm just not gonna worry about them. And like I said, like, I like the sense of desperation that this arc creates. So yeah, Goku coming in and getting the save, I'm fine with. I also like it because Kuririn is, like, the one that, like, powers up, like, you know, in a moment of desperation, hoping that Goku can sense him, and Goku does, and he shows up and takes out that enemy, and he takes out, like, the ones that are attacking Yamcha and Tenshinhan, and he, you know, comes in to, like, save Gohan and Piccolo. Like, he gets his big damn hero moment. But you know who also gets a big damn hero moment? Vegeta! Vegeta actually gets a big damn hero moment. And then, you know, Miris and Jocko get big damn hero moments. So yeah, no, it's fine. Like, I am fine with it. Like, if it really bothers you that much, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna dock points off of this arc because, like, I went in with, like, warped expectations. Like, I'm not saying, like, your expectations are wrong and you're wrong for wanting these things, but I don't think those things were realistic in the first place. So, yeah, I'm not bothered that I didn't get those things. Like, I was just happy that Majin Buu got to be involved. I'm happy that I got to see, like, Yamcha and Tenshinhan and Kuririn and everyone fight and have, like, cool moments. Like, I'm just happy that I got to see Vegeta learn a new technique that wasn't just about punching a guy harder, and got to assist Goku in an instrumental way in sealing the victory. And then, like, the last thing I want to talk about as far as the criticisms against this arc is Senzu Gate. Specifically, like, Goku giving Moro a Senzu Bean, and how this completely just ruins his character, and he's a f***ing idiot, and, like, he hasn't learned anything, and this is a huge character regression. And I'm like, guys, did you like, not get the point of, like, what that scene was supposed to convey? Like, you know, he gives him the Senzu, and he heals up, and he's at full power again. And then he punches Goku in the chest, and Goku flexes his pec and breaks his arm. Like, the whole point of that was to convey to Moro how he was. Like, Goku wanted to, in that moment, if it were possible, to spare Moro, to not kill him, to give Moro an opportunity to just give up. And he didn't. And, you know, like, yeah, did that backfire in Goku's face? A bit, yeah. Like, people can say, like, oh, because of him, he absorbed Miras's power, and then he had to absorb, like, into the Earth, and was gonna blow the Earth up, and it's just like, okay. Like, yeah, that was a thing that happened, but I don't think the senzu was needed for that. Moro could have done that without the senzu. Like, he didn't need to be healed. Like, it's not like, you know, Goku doing that directly contributed to what happened afterwards. So, yeah, like, you know, Moro literally begged to not be killed. So, yeah, I'm fine with my hero doing something foolish for a good intention. Like, I feel Goku has done far worse things, far more selfish things in Dragon Ball. Both, like, the original manga and in Super up until this point, than this. Like, this is fine. It's fine. Like, Goku had a plan. Like, and Goku giving him a senzu literally did not make things worse. Like, Moro could have done what he did without ever getting healed. So yeah, it's fine, guys. Calm down. Also, I've heard people say that, like, Toyotaro doesn't know how to write Goku. Like, because, you know, like, Toyotaro leans into the whole, like, Goku isn't a hero. He just wants to fight strong guys. He doesn't, like, understand his character. And, guys, I don't know how to say this, but, like, Goku isn't that well of a defined character. Like, you know, he's kind of static in terms of, like, how he's presented. But, like, his development isn't usually, like, a clear path. Like, Goku kind of just does what the plot needs him to do a lot of times. Like there are certain core elements to his character. He likes to train, he likes to eat, he likes to fight strong guys, and, you know, he's really protective of the people that he cares about. You know, like, if he sees evil people doing evil things directly in front of him, he will put a stop to that shit ASAP. But for the most part, like, everything else about Goku, he's kind of bent to the will of the plot. He's not a character that just, like, has, like, a clear, like, development and growth that has been backpedaled on. So, sorry, I'm not gonna get upset about that either. To wrap things up, I really like this arc. I think it's a lot of fun. Is it, like, the best arc ever? No. Is it kind of a rehash of stuff? Yeah. Is Moro boring? Yeah. Like, could stuff be trimmed out? Yeah. But, like, none of those things, like, hampered my ability to enjoy this story arc. And honestly, like, yeah, it's tropey. Yeah, it, like, you know, kind of follows, like, kind of a structure that you would expect of shonen anime or manga and of Dragon Ball specific. But, like, honestly, maybe that's not a bad thing for a change. Like, I feel like Dragon Ball has, like, modern Dragon Ball at least, has kind of been stuck in this really bare bones, barely there formula of stuff. And, like, we keep getting these really unsatisfying endings. Like, Goku losing against Beers and then Beers just leaving and just being like, okay, I'm done here, bye. Frieza blowing up the planet and having it be reset so Goku can steal the victory from Vegeta. Goku Black, like, that whole fucking time, Trunks' entire timeline just getting wiped out. You know, 2 tournaments where jack shit happens, or, like, Broly just getting teleported off of Earth. Like, these aren't satisfying conclusions to storylines. So, yeah, like I could sit here and nitpick stuff, because there's things I don't like. Like, there's plenty of stuff that I was like, oh, like, that's kind of lame. That wasn't really needed. Like, but all of the cool shit, like, Toyotaro is a fan of Dragon Ball, but he's a fan of Dragon Ball that, like, I feel understands good storytelling and structure. Like, I didn't honestly expect to go into this arc disliking it. Like, I've liked Toyotaro's adaptations so far. Like, the Universe 6 arc, Future Trunks, even Universe Survival. I have enjoyed way more than the anime adaptations of Toriyama's stories for that. Like, I think Toyotaro has a better idea of story structure and narrative and how to do setup and build-ups and payoffs. I think he's just solid at it. Like, I don't think, those arcs that he adapted from Toriyama were that good, but they had enjoyable bits, and I wasn't pissed off at it like I was at the anime constantly. They were fine. They were serviceable. They were acceptable. Here, this felt like an arc. It had things that just kept me gripped and engaged. If you didn't like this arc, fine. I'm not going to try to force my opinion, you need to agree with me. But f***ing hey, guys, I'm sorry, I don't agree. I don't. And if, you are expecting me to trash this arc, then you clearly have no clue what I've been complaining about with modern Dragon Ball up until this point. Because literally this arc gave me everything I had been asking for. It would be utter bullshit for me to trash it now. So yeah, I enjoyed it. If you knew me, you should have known I was going to enjoy it, honestly. I'm not just a hater for hater's sake. So yeah, honestly, I'm looking forward to the next arc, if it's a Toyotaro arc. I want to see what he does next. I know there's a new one coming. I know this arc isn't technically officially done as of this recording, that the next chapter is actually going to wrap things up. And, what happens if they f*** it up? It's the wrap up. I really can't see Toyotaro doing anything that's going to make it worse. Maybe Miras will come back, maybe Miras won't. Maybe Moro is still alive and is in a weakened state and he'll be arrested instead of just killed off, was how it seemed at the end of the last chapter. There's cleanup that needs to be done, but I can't see this arc doing anything. Maybe it'll build into a new arc. Maybe that's going to be the next thing for the next chapter. The events of this will lead directly into a new arc. Maybe. But it's not like the wrap-up, the cleanup is going to do anything that's going to hinder my ability or change any of my opinions on this arc at this point. Maybe this is just me being resistant to all the hate it's getting, but honestly, right now, I'm kind of thinking this arc is sitting in my top 5. It's Cyan arc, Piccolo Daimao, the Baby arc, the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai arc, and then the Moro, or the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc. And maybe I'll change my mind at some point. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But I know I enjoyed this arc. If you have not read it yet, do it. It's rad. Don't do it. It's cool. Do it. If you hated it, maybe give it a reread. Maybe you'll like it more the second time around. Maybe you'll hate it more. Whatever. Yeah. Xeon out.